The 2-2 pitch is called strike three. Fastball got him. Robbie Ray, his 247th career start in what's been a very distinguished career. It's only his second career complete game.
Welcome in to a Thursday edition of Sportsphone KNBR with Bill Laskey. And when is the last time we got to say a complete game by the starting pitcher? Fantastic defense, great hitting, add-on runs, key hits with runners in scoring position. I get to say that tonight because it was a fabulous game for the San Francisco Giants, taking the fourth game and making it a 2-2 series against the Diamondbacks, and had some momentum going into this weekend series against the Athletics. But what a game Robbie Ray put on. And the top of the order, Yastrzemski 3 for 5, Willie Adames 3 for 4, Rafael Devers 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs, Elliot Ramos 2 for 5, Jung-Hoo Lee 1 for 3 with an RBI. It was fabulous win tonight. And they put it together from the first inning, scoring 2 runs, adding on 2 more in the third, adding 2 more in the seventh, and 1 more in the ninth to take a 7-2 win. 7 runs, 12 hits for the San Francisco Giants. Just a fantastic outing by the offense. And the old cherry on top was Robbie Ray. Boy, was he great tonight. 9 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. He was a player of the game on NBC Bay Area, and they talked about how well he pitched, and he just said it was quick outs, not a lot of pitches in between innings. And I thought that was an excellent answer when you look at what he did tonight. 102 pitches, 69 for strikes right off the bat, but it was efficiency. 7 pitches in the first, 9 in the second, 11 in the third, 13 in the fourth, 7 in the fifth, 10 in the 6th, 10 in the 7th, 11 in the 8th. He had 78 pitches after 8 innings with 54 for strikes. Then the old 9th inning caught him around the neck, and he had to battle to finish it. He threw 24 pitches in the 9th, giving up a solo home run on a 3-1 slider to Marte. He walks Perdomo, and then all of a sudden he got a little sweating now, a little sweating on the brow, and, breathing a little harder, trying to finish the game. And this was his second complete game in his entire career. The first one was when he was pitching for the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2017 when he faced the Pirates. This is his second complete game of his career, and it came at a perfect time for the San Francisco Giants. The bullpen was taxed a little bit. It really was great for the bullpen just to sit there and watch him just tear apart this Diamondback lineup. Made a couple mistakes, but what the hell? He threw a gem tonight in his 18 starts. The Giants are 14-4 in his starts. Now, 2 of those losses were 1-0 shutouts against them. And when you hear about it, one was against the Miami Marlins in Miami, where he only gave up 2 hits. And the other one was against the White Sox last Saturday, where he only gave up 4 hits. So look at what he has done for the San Francisco Giants in his 18 starts. Just fabulous work tonight. And his numbers at the end, 9-3 for the year, 2.68 earned run average, 107 1/3 innings, 117 strikeouts, 39 walks, only 78 hits, 32 runs. And to me, he's a National League All-Star, along with Logan Webb. I think you can lock both of them in as starting pitchers for that National League All-Star team that's going to be played in July in Atlanta. Both of those have been throwing gem after gem. The Giants got those early runs for him, and that settled him down, no doubt. And he just started throwing pellets. He threw 39 fastballs, got the fastball up to about 96 mile an hour. He was averaging 94, which is still pretty good, and he was throwing in the 9th inning 95, 96. He still had a little left. The slider was magnificent tonight. He had 7 strikeouts, 4 of them by the slider, 3 of them by the fastball. A couple of them were elevated fastballs. 38 sliders, 90 was the highest, and 88 is where you want to get that for. You get the movement really throwing sliders into right-handers, away from left-handers, got it on it was like a cutter times because it went from 9 to 3 if you're looking at a clock. Then the changeup, he threw 8 changeups, and this is a pitch that he's been working on since spring training. All 8 of them were strikes. The other one was the knuckle curveball, and he threw that 17 times, and that was about 84, 85 mile an hour, really a nice drop on it. And I tell you, it was really complimentary of Andrew Knizner really hugging each other at the end because they really worked well together. And Knizner's a catcher that doesn't get in these games that much. And for him to go out there and work with Robbie Ray really confided him today, and it really worked out for both of them. There was times they shook him off, but it was quick shake-offs. It went for another pitch. But when you look at what he did, fastball, slider, control, 39 fastballs, 38 sliders, and they were dominant. He was dominant. I just love how many pitches he threw. He went out there, got ahead of hitters, got some nice ground ball, 12 ground ball outs, 6 fly ball outs. The 2 really great catches by Brett Wisely. That happened in the 8th inning. Alexander hit that ball down the third base line. He dove, he caught it, got up, and threw him out. And that was just a sensational play, especially leading off the 8th inning. And then he did it again to Tawa at the third out of the inning. Another ball down the line that he picked up and threw to first base. So kudos to Brett Wisely, who's jumping in or playing third base, and he played a great game, along with Willie Adames. Willie Adames played some great defense at shortstop, and one of his better games on the offensive side where he went 3 for 4 with 2 doubles. But all in all, this was a game the Giants needed to put together. Of course, losing 2 out of 3 from the White Sox. Last night, battling after they lost the lead in the 9th inning, coming back to win it on a ghost runner in the 10th inning. But today was that game that now they can get in that plane and go to Sacramento with a lot of momentum, a lot of positive things that happened in this game that the Giants needed to do to get away from that funk they were in, because they were in a bad funk, 1-7 up until last night's game. Let's talk about this game. 415-808 KNBR. Get your thoughts on what Robbie Ray's been doing, because him and Logan Webb, I say, are ace 1 and ace 2 because they both have been throwing stellar games. I keep going back to 18 starts, and the Giants are 14-4, and that's pretty damn good. I'm Bill Laskey. This is Sportsphone KNBR. Let's get on the phone lines, talk about this game and more, as the Giants now are coming to Sacramento to play the Athletics for a July 4th, 5th, and 6th weekend. We'll be right back right here on Sports Leader.
YouTube at KNBR 1045.
The first pitch. Elliott pulls it sharply on the ground. It's fair. Down the third base line, headed towards the corner. Adames will come in to score. Devers around to third, and he'll stop there, just not running 100%. Devers still is hurting. Into second with a double. Ramos, it's 1-0 Giants.
Here's your host, Bill Laskey.
Back on KNBR with Bill Laskey talking about Rafael Devers. Just a fantastic at-bat in the seventh inning, coming up with 2 outs with runners on first and second. Or second and third, I apologize. And he hit a 2-2 fastball right by the first baseman to bring in both those runs. And then he came back up in that ninth inning with bases loaded, 1 out, and hit the sac fly. Just some good at-bats right there, and I think that's what Giants fans are looking for him. Got a walk in that first inning. 2 walks really helped the Giants score those first 2 runs when Ramos hit that double down the left field line and Jung-Hoo Lee hit a sac fly. Just some good at-bats, and I think that's what we need to start seeing out of this lineup. Even if it's a sac fly or getting the guy over, those are things that generate runs. And tonight the Giants did that by scoring 7 runs on 12 hits. And it was mostly the top of the order. 3 for 5 with Yaz, 3 for 4 with Adames with 2 doubles, 1 for 3 with Devers with 3 RBIs. Ramos was 2 for 5 with 2 doubles, or 2 RBIs with a double. Jung-Hoo Lee 1 for 3 with an RBI. Then, 6, 7, and 8, boy, they struggle. Smith, Fitzgerald, and Wisely 0 for 12 with 7 strikeouts. They weren't even putting a ball in play. Kinsner at the bottom of the order went 2 for 4. He got a nice base hit in the 7th and got a base hit in the 9th inning, caught a great game. And for a guy that's catching once in a while, good job by him. And it was really a nice job behind the plate, working Robbie Ray, settling him down at different times. And I really loved how he used all his pitches, getting first pitch strikes, 20 first pitch strikes out of 31 hitters, 12 ground balls, 6 fly balls to 12 ground balls, 5 to Adames, 4 to Wisely, and 3 to Fitzgerald. Just a good, solid defense behind Robbie Ray as he wins his 9th game of the year. 9-3 with a 2.68 earned run average. Just good all-around game for the Giants. All right, 415-808 KNBR if you want to get on the phone lines. Got a few of them coming in. Let's go to Mark. He's in Fresno. Mark, you're on with Bill Laskey on KNBR this evening. How are you?
Hey, Bill, I'm doing great, and I hope you're doing the same. The complete game is one of the rare things that happens in Major League Baseball these days. I'm wondering if there are more complete games or 20-game winners in a given season.
Complete games, that's the first one for the Giants already, and you're talking at 88 games. That's the first complete game. And the other one that kind of surprised me, Mark, was only the second complete game of Robbie Ray's career. That surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, I know. Hey, Bill, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but can you recall, as being an ex-pitcher, how many complete games did you have in your career?
I know I had 7 my rookie year. I know that, but I couldn't even tell you after that. Maybe a couple more after that. My rookie year was when I was flying high. My first 3 years, I really completed a lot of games. We didn't want to come out. Mark, you talked about earlier days, and we wanted to go 9 innings all the time. You were mad if they got pulled in the 6th or 7th inning. Now you get 6 innings in, and when you look at Robbie Ray, 10 quality starts out of 18 starts, that's 6 innings or more with 3 runs or less. Those numbers are just shining right now when you look at his stats.
Yeah, I know. And, Bill, I think I read somewhere where we're, maybe yesterday or the day before is the anniversary of the great Juan Marichal Warren Spahn 16-game complete game, 1-0.
I think it was yesterday, Mark. I think they showed that on NBC Bay Area, and they showed a picture of both of them, and I think Kipe was talking about it. That was an amazing game when you see how many pitches both of them threw.
Well, back then, Marichal, I remember looking at the stats, and, he'd go 300-plus innings, and he'd have, 25 to 30 complete games per year.
Mm-hmm. Well, a stat I always throw out there, Mark, is if you go see his statue, he's got 1 more complete game than a win. So his wins, I don't know how many wins there were, but he had 1 more complete game than all of his wins, and that just amazes me. Think about that, though.
Yeah.
How many complete games he had.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. And, he wasn't the only one that had complete games back in the day. But one other thing I wanted to bring up about Robbie Ray is I noticed that when he pitches, he really does have that presence on the mound, an intimidating presence. He's built, very great physique. He just looks like a pitcher, coming at you. And when he's not walking people, he's
devastating. Yeah.
And I think
one thing I want to throw to you, Mark, when you see his windup, how he closes the door. I mean, I read this book about Nolan Ryan so many years ago, and I teach it as I do my pitching lessons about closing the gate and opening the gate, where the leg and the shoulder closes and it all comes out at you. And he's the perfect person. He comes back a little bit farther than I would expect, but he really opens up beautifully. And today, his feel for all the pitches were there. You could see the slider, the knuckle curveball, the changeup. He only threw 8 of them. Every one of them was a strike. NBC Bay Area had him as the player of the game, and he just said, I just felt so good out of the bullpen having the ball come out of my hand. And as a pitcher, I understood exactly what he said, because you get that grip, you get the feel, and you get the touch of the seam, and you get the feel when you spin the pitch. When you got that going, man, you just got to just lay in there and just watch the movement of the pitch and adjust from the pitch.
Spoken like a true pitcher, like you are, Bill. Hey, thanks a lot for letting me on the air.
Mark, thanks for calling in. But, Mark brings a good point up about complete games. They're hard to get, and it's mostly about pitch count. And we talk about pitch count all the time. When a pitcher gets close to 100 pitches, boom, the bullpen's in. Going into that 9th inning, 78 pitches with 54 for strikes. 78 pitches after 8 innings. That's less than 10 an inning. That just doesn't happen. But it's those first pitch strikes I keep telling everybody. 20 first pitch strikes, 31 hitters. That's just damn good pitching. And then when you can use that and you use the slider and the knuckle curve, when you look at 6, 7, or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 for 3 each one of them. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. 0 for 15 from Grichuk, Alexander, McCann, Tawa, and Thomas. All of them, 0 for 3. I really thought before that first home run, he had a perfect game going through 4 innings. A perfect game. And I was like, uh-oh, we got something special here tonight. First thing I was thinking, no-hitter. And then I looked down at my scorebook, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, 12 up, 12 down. And then, of course, the home run by Schwartz, it's changed all that with the first fastball he threw in the 5th inning. But then he comes back with a nice 1, 2, 3 inning right after it. He still only threw 7 pitches that inning. The numbers that he threw in pitch selection as well as the pitches per inning was fabulous. Getting early outs, making good defense behind him, and the game went pretty quick. And what was great about it, he had time in the dugout to sit there and get some offense and hitting to manufacture a little bit more momentum for himself. And to me, that's what the Giants can do. If they could do this for more of their starting pitchers, you'll get games that can go later in, because all these pitchers have been pitching a lot of stress games with no runs. And we talk about this all the time. We all do it. Everybody, every show, there's always talk. When are we going to score runs? When are we going to score runs? Tonight, this is a first blueprint that the Giants hitters did extremely well, getting out early, adding on, even adding on in the latter part of the game. So a good all-around game, and that gives them momentum to come into this weekend playing in Sacramento. We have a lot of Giants fans, athletic fans. They'll fill that park. 4th of July starting tomorrow. A good weekend, and they're all night games, which is pretty cool because it's going to be warm. But I thought it was a good momentum swing for the Giants in every part of their game. Let's go to Bruce in San Jose. Bruce, you're on Sportsphone KNBR with Bill Laskey tonight. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Bill. Great evening to you and everyone there at KNBR. Thanks for taking the call. So, it was one of those games that I just had in the background as I was driving home when the game started, so radio and then switch to TV. So I was like kind of paying attention, but not fully paying attention, how some of those games go. But as the game went on, I didn't realize that you just mentioned it, what caught my attention in the 9th inning was the pitch count, but I didn't realize he had 78 pitches going in to the 9th inning. And I was hoping he could get it like on the 100th pitch or earlier.
That's the first thing I thought too. I was like, to finish it with 100 pitches, but he ended up with 102. I don't think he's going to argue about it.
No, for sure. And that's real quick. Also, hopefully, like obviously the offense and the pitching connected well today, but what to me was a good sign was the situational hitting throughout the game.
Yes.
But didn't Jung-Hoo get the sac fly early in the game, very early
First
in the game?
inning. First inning, good call. Very good call
game,
and even in the 9th inning, in the 9th inning, Bruce, Devers did when they had bases loaded. He hit a fly ball to drive in that extra run. That's situational hitting, as you just talked about. That's something that they haven't done too well. The runners in scoring position, of course, those 4 letters have killed this team.
Sorry, real quick, one question. I guess I didn't realize. He's in there every day. Where is Devers hurting? Or I'm glad he's able to play, but I noticed he's not able to run, and I don't want him.
The biggest thing we know is they've been saying he's had a groin issue for even before he came over. When he was in Boston. So that's why you're not seeing a lot of speed out of him. Of course, they're slowing him down. A couple times Matt Williams tried to push him. The other thing that John Shea wrote a great article about him, and he also talked about his stiff back. Had some lower stiff back issues. But he was talking about, I'm striking out too much. I'm swinging too hard. I got to just be a little more patient in his hitting. John Shea wrote a great article and really sat down with Erwin Higueras and Rafael to do this article. And If you get a chance to read it because he really comes out and talks about the trade, how much pressure he put him on himself, and a lot of different things where now he's starting to feel a little more comfortable with the Giants, feel a little more comfortable where he is. And I don't know how much if we're going to see him at first base yet. I don't think Bob Melvin's ready to put him there yet. But, hey, you know what? If he's in there every game and he goes 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs, I'm sure, Bruce, you and I will be clapping for him as a DH the rest of the year.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. We need to get him at any workplace, right? You want your employees in a comfortable, so they're productive, effective. Anyways, I appreciate the time, Bill.
Bruce, thanks again. Thanks for the call tonight. Good stuff right there, Bruce, too. And, you know, you start thinking about all the pressure a lot of these guys have been having. I mean, we've been talking about it on sports radio for a couple weeks now, and what we saw out of Jung-Hoo Lee yesterday with his at-bats and how he performed after a day off, going 3 for 5 yesterday, a single, double, and a triple. And today he had some really good at-bats. He went 1 for 3. Of course, the sac fly we just talked about in the first inning, hit a good ball in center field the second time up. Got an infield hit, which was even better, a little speeded road runner he has. Punched out in the 8th, but I just think little things like this are mattering to this Giants team because they have to get some better at-bats, putting the ball in play. They still punched out 11 times, but that was mainly Smith, Fitzgerald, and Wisely. All 3 of them, 0 for 12 with 7 of those strikeouts. But the top of the order really performed well when you talk about Yastrzemski, Adames, Devers, Ramos, and Lee. And I think that's what we're going to probably see a little bit more of. Flores they had the day off today. But those guys really made a difference in attacking Brandon Pfaadt right off the bat, getting those 2 runs after he walked 2 guys in the first inning. All right, let's go to Kevin in Oakland. Kevin, you're on Sportsphone with Bill Laskey. How are you this evening?
Hey, Bill, how are you? I'm doing good. How about you?
Yeah, good win. You know, I thought it was a solid win. I thought all aspects of the game, as I've been talking about, defense, offense, great pitching. What did you feel?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great bounce back series tie. I mean, especially from what happened in Chicago in the first 2 games of this series. But overall, it was a good bounce back, back-to-back wins. And I really like what I'm seeing with the team now. And, I mean, they're putting the ball in play, getting situational hitting done, and scoring the runs that they're supposed to score this lineup. That's pretty good.
You know, Kevin, I think the biggest thing is we wanted to see was more contact. Especially when runners in scoring position, second and third with 2 outs and the guy punches out or watches strike 3, which bugs the hell out of me. You know, in that point, make contact, try to put the ball in play. And today, you know, from Jung-Hoo Lee hitting that sac fly in the first to Devers hitting that sac fly in the 9th, those are pickup runs. Those are the runs that should be done all the time. And all it is, Kevin, is making contact and trying to drive the ball.
Yeah, that is true. But I did want to ask your take on this about acquiring a starting pitcher that I don't know if he is on the trade market, but it's Joe Ryan from the Twins. And I have a little.
He's a local kid, isn't he? Local, isn't he?
He is.
Didn't he grow up here?
So
yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I thought he was from here.
I mean, yeah, he is.
Go ahead.
But
you like Joe Ryan?
So Giants would acquire Joe Ryan, and then the Twins would get for sure probably Carson Whisenhunt, Joe Whitman, and then probably throw like a Hayden Bird song. I'm pretty sure that's probably more of a lot.
That's too much. But, no, that's way too much. They're not going to give up on Whisenhunt. That's one guy they may not do, and Bird song, because both of those names were in the Boston Red Sox deal. They also had Eldridge in there, and Posey said no, those 3 were untouchable. That's why I kind of went with Kyle Harrison, and then they really went after Kyle Harrison hard. They wanted him in that deal, and that it had to be a young arm, and the Giants have so many of them, but I don't think they would give that much up for Joe Ryan. He's a very quality pitcher, no question. I've been hearing leaks that, you know, from the front office, they are continuing to make calls. They have some people on what they're looking at. Of course, we'll never find out. And I think they should. I think it is possible. Buster's not just going to let a roster sit there. He has to get better. And, you know, what he did, he picked up Barnes from the Dodgers. and he's going to be in AAA catching.
Yeah.
So, you're trying to build that catchers. And today, of course, Andrew Kisner saves his life going 2 for 4 and catches a gem with Robbie Ray. That's what you have to do as a backup catcher if you want to keep your job.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it was something I was just thinking about. Joe Ryan, I mean, he would be great.
Good name.
And
Very
also
good name.
pitching
Solid.
at Oracle Park. But
I liked him. I liked him when he pitched.
Maybe that goes down.
Yeah, that's
right,
a good one, though. I'm sure they're gonna try to build. Let me ask you something before you jump, Kevin. Do you really think the Giants need another starting pitcher? Do you think they need something to bolster this rotation?
If they do go into the wild card round, I believe they would need that third punch if it goes to a game 3. I mean, with Webb and Ray, the series can be won right then and there, but playoff baseball, it's totally different. So going to that third game without your 1 and 2 punch, I mean, that third guy, I mean, right now would technically be Verlander, but I mean, preferably I would want Root pitching that third game, but that is a rookie. So that is a lot of pressure for him. So getting that third
good point.
solid, number 3 guy. But anyway,
that's a good thought, though. I mean, I think that's. I'm sure, Kevin, they're looking at that. I'm sure they're looking at second base also. Everybody's looking at catchers.
Right.
The Padres came out saying we're looking for a catcher. We don't like either one of our catchers. A lot of teams will start going into the bottom basement teams and seeing if there's anything that they can trade. But you definitely don't want to give up many prospects. The 3 guys you throw out there, there's no way they're going to put all 3 of them in a deal. But, hey, Kevin, thanks for the call. I appreciate it and a good conversation. Thanks for have a good night. All right, we're going to take a quick break. 415-808-KNBR if you want to get on the phone lines. Got a few of them on hold. Coming up later in the show, Brooks Nudson. Of course, he is on the Pitchers Park podcast. He's been on the show many times. We're going to dial in with he thoughts of the game and what he can expect and tell us a little bit more about the Athletics coming up this weekend. I'm Bill Laskey. This is Sportsphone KNBR. More coming up right here on the Sports Leader.
Send us a text at 415-808-KNBR. We're streaming on YouTube all damn day at KNBR 1045.
Just aggressive swings, early count from the other side. But first pitch sliders, ground balls off an off-speed pitch. It's a little bit different than before. Years past, he'd had a little more difficult time throwing, 9 innings with throwing as many fastballs as he does at the top of the zone, foul balls, and so forth. Kind of, run his pitch count up. But I think it's his off-speed stuff and throwing it in different counts now that's allowed him to pitch deeper in games.
Back on KNBR with Bill Laskey on a Thursday night. Giants win tonight and split the series with the Diamondbacks 7-2. And what Bob Melvin was talking about was Robbie Ray and the pitches that he threw. And 7 strikeouts he had, 3 of them by the fastball, and 2 of them he blew right by guys, and 1 was elevated. But he does throw a lot of fastballs up, like Bob was talking about. He gets foul balls, a lot of foul balls off it. But tonight, it was different. He didn't throw that many. He threw about 39 fastballs, 38 sliders. But the slider had such a good whip to it, and the speed of it was about 88 to 90, which is the perfect speed you want for a slider. You want more movement than speed. And then he'd come back with a fastball at 96, 95. And those 2 pitches, he really just changed up a couple times, threw a couple of them in the same place, same, back-to-back pitches. Then he threw the knuckle curveball, snuck a few of those in, and 8 changeups. But the array of pitches he had and how he managed to throw balls inside, outside, up, and down, just a fabulous job by Robbie Ray tonight. And I keep talking about it. 18 starts, 10 quality starts. 10 quality starts he's given the Giants this year. And that was his second complete game in his career. Now he's 9-3 with a 2.6 earned run average. Let's take a quick look at the probable pitchers for the Athletic Giants series coming in, and that's tomorrow. Starts 4th of July, 7:05 first game. Justin Verlander is going to try to get his first win tomorrow. He's 0-5 with a 4.2 earned run average. Threw the ball real well against the White Sox his last time out. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks. 3 strikeouts, had the lead coming out of the game, and the bullpen kind of blew that one with Miller and Walker. He's going up against a left-hander, J.P. Sears. J.P. Sears 6-7 with a 5.09 earned run average. The thing about Sears, he's given up 18 home runs, 18 of them already. Now, he threw against the Giants on May 16th. He got the loss. He threw 4 innings, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, gave up a home run in that game. Month of June, he's been throwing okay, 2-2 with a 4.9. That game is going to be first pitch right here at 7:05. On Saturday, Logan Webb against Luis Severino. Logan Webb, 18 starts, 7-6 with a 2.6 earned run average. Luis Severino, 2-9 with a 5.09 earned run average. He threw against the Giants on the day after JP did last time on 5/17. He went 6 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs against the Giants, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, and a no decision. Then Sunday's going to be the game I really want to watch because Hayden Birdsong's starting. And Hayden Birdsong's had some tough outings, and I want to see how he rebounds from this. He only threw 4 innings against Arizona, took the loss. He only threw 4 innings against Miami, gave up 7 earned runs in that game. And this is a big outing for me to watch him, to see if he can rebound back into what he did. He only threw 1 curveball in the Arizona game, and that kind of baffled me because he's got such a good 12-6 curveball. He had 4 walks, 6 strikeouts in that game. In Miami, he just got pounded. 4 hits, 4 walks, 2 home runs. It was not a good outing. And both of these games, if you remember these games in the 4th and 5th inning, he just started walking guys. And in that Arizona game, he threw 10 straight balls, and then the next one was a 3-run home run. So this is something he's got to overcome mentally. Physically, he can throw. He was throwing the ball well. Mentally, something is going on in those middle innings. He called it a force field the other night after the game, and I was doing the post-game show, and I'm like, oh, my goodness, he's throwing a Star Wars line at us. A force field stopping him from throwing strikes. Well, I never heard that one before, but we're going to find out if that force field is going to stop him in Sacramento. He's going to throw Sunday, another night game, against a left-hander, Jacob Lopez. He's 2-4 with a 3.8. So it's Verlander, Webb, Birdsong against Sears, Severino, and Lopez. That's the weekend series. and I'll be covering the post-game show on all three of those starting tomorrow, a Sportsphone KNBR show, and then the following two are going to be extra inning post-game shows. All right, let's get back to the phone lines. Let's go to San Francisco and talk to Cameron. Cameron, you're on a Thursday night Sportsphone show with Bill Laskey. Hope you enjoyed the game today. You there, Cameron? Hello.
Hi, Bill. Cameron here. I'm not sure. Hey, sorry about
Good.
that.
I knew it took you a second to grab it. How are you tonight?
Well, I was on mute, then it accidentally switched to hold. I'm doing great. I'm 31 years old. I've been listening to KNBR my whole life, and it's great to be on with you, Bill. I think you got a great regal presence. So one thing I know about Giants baseball, we in our success, especially post Barry, we always do the little things right. We had a few tough series here where we're making fundamental mistakes that I feel
right.
Like on the base paths especially, and defensively here and there striking out. But and a lot of people, they freak out game by game. I think everyone was mad about these last few series. But my question for you, I think we have the same right, and want to call in and spread some good vibes to celebrate this showing, going into the holiday weekend. I just kind of wanted to ask you, about morale. How you think the boys are feeling in general, if this is going to pick them up, and if you think that, the Bowmel extension has anything to do with that, and just in general, what do you think the guys are feeling like?
I think the first thing, Cameron, let's go to the Bob Melvin extension with all his coaches also, and that gives them confidence. And you heard it from Matt Chapman. You heard it from Logan Webb, some of the voices in that clubhouse saying, no, this is who we want to lead us. And I loved what Logan Webb said, because I've been barking at people coming on these shows, well, let's fire Bob Melvin. And what's wrong? Buster Posey's not the greatest president. And I'm like, hold on here. Just hold on here. You cannot continue to blame the manager and the coaches and the president when you're looking at these players with a .210 batting average, a 7-point earned run average in the last couple starts. You have to look within. And what Logan Webb said was perfect. He said, we as players need to change this. We as players have to play better. We as pitchers have to pitch better. The guys are preparing us so well, and they do this. I've been in that clubhouse. I've been there before the games. The preparation these hitting coaches do, as well as J.P. Martinez, and they prepare these pitchers and hitters for what's coming at that game. But it all comes down on the field. And Cameron, that's what's starting to change a little bit. I love what Bob Melvin did with Jung-Hoo Lee. He's always had Monday off in Korea. That's their schedule. He's been playing really a lot. And he gave him a day off, and he comes back and hits 3 hits. Today, I had another great hit. His swing was better. Sometimes you do need a day off, a mental break. Your arms get tired. Your body gets tight. It's stiffness. It's normal baseball. So going to that, I think that was a great move by Buster Posey. And Buster came out and said, if anybody wants to holler at anybody, holler at me. I'm putting a roster together. Well, nobody's going to holler at Buster. He's doing a fantastic job. But I think the players, when you talk morale, when you win a game like this, the clubhouse music's blasting, everybody's high-fiving each other, patting each other. But when you lose, that music isn't blasting. Everybody's got their head down trying to figure out what's going on. And this last stretch, Cameron, when they went 1-7, they lost 3 to Miami. They go into Chicago and lose 2 out of 3. That flight from Chicago to Arizona wasn't proud, wasn't happy. Sure, they're having a good time, but it wasn't as like it's tonight when they're flying from Arizona to Sacramento. That plane ride's having fun, joking around, having a good time. Matt Chapman's going to go to Reno and play in a AAA game tomorrow to get some at-bats, live at-bats. He may join the team in Sacramento. Then we'll start seeing, Cameron, how this lineup's going to be with Matt Chapman in it. And I think that's what we're looking for, a solid team, a healthy team. You talk about morale, this is a momentum builder today, no question.
Absolutely. I agree. I think this could be, an example and a turning point. And I had one more kind of question.
Yeah,
it's
go
a
ahead.
little
Take
bit
your time.
tangential if you have the time. Well, so, rest in peace to Dave Parker, obviously. But I saw something interesting in the news today about the young man, I don't know his name, but he has his number currently in Pittsburgh. And he made a comment about how he wanted to change numbers, after something like that. And it just reminded me kind of I'm not sure if he's allowed to. I don't know the rules. Maybe you can tell me. But it kind of reminded me of Mike Murphy, the old, Giants clubhouse manager, and how I read his thing about, I don't think the Giants actually retire jerseys per se, but he's not going to be giving out a number. He doesn't give out very long numbers.
No, Cameron Murph was fantastic at that. When he saw a player that shined for many years, that number was kind of hidden. And he never let people like Timmy Lincecum. You don't see anybody wearing 55. Crawford was with Verlander, and Verlander called him and said, "Hey, this is my number. Do you mind me wearing it?" Some of these numbers just won't be worn again. Buster Posey's number won't be worn. You won't see 28 with anybody. There's certain guys, certain players that numbers are kind of hidden. And those numbers will hopefully be up in the rafters sooner or later. When you looked at Will Clark, sure, people wore Will Clark's number until all of a sudden they didn't. Barry Bonds' number, Mike Tinyfelder was the last one wearing that. So there are numbers that Mike Murphy did, even Brad Grems now, who's the head clubhouse attendant in there now. They do hide numbers. They don't let guys wear them.
I just think that it's such a classy thing that the organization does, and some of these guys, and I just think that's one of those things that makes me more prideful to be a Giants fan, and it's just one of those intangible things that you don't see other clubs doing, and it was kind of highlighted today with the Pirates, and I think
that's pretty cool,
sort of
Cameron, that you noticed that too. Cameron, you
Yes.
noticed it, and a lot of people don't see that, but you definitely noticed it, and kudos to you.
Yeah, well, I just want to kind of celebrate the Giants today because there's a lot of negativity around, and I appreciate you taking my call. I hope to call back one of these days soon.
Yeah, please do, Cameron. Good stuff right there, and I appreciate it, especially like you're talking about Dave Parker, the Cobra. Of course, he passed away this week. He'll be going into the Hall of Fame here in July, and it's just sad he couldn't make it. He had Parkinson's, and Parkinson's really took him down. A lot of the Pirate players rallied around him and talked about him and kind of celebrated his life, which was something that was needed. And it took too long, I thought, the Hall of Fame to bring him in. I faced him. He was a tough out. He was such a big man, and he swung so hard. You see how Rafael Devers swings. That's how Dave Parker used to swing. There was one ball that I remember. Rennie Martin threw him a curveball at Candlestick Park, and Dave Parker hit it in right center field at Candlestick in the upper deck. In the upper deck, he hit it in the second row, and we were like, oh, my goodness. We all stood because we were on the first base side. We walked out of the dugout and watched how far this ball went. And if you can think of this, how right center field was, it was coming around the circle there, and he hit it in the upper deck. I never saw a ball hit up like that. And it was just a mammoth home run. But that's how he was, and that's what he should be in the Hall of Fame. All right, let's go to Andrea in Berkeley. Andrea, how are you this evening? A good win by the Giants.
Oh, I'm just so excited. I got a name for it. It's a Throwback Thursday. We got a complete game.
Boy, you got Fun Day Sunday. Now you're dropping a Throwback Thursday on me? Man, you're naming all the days.
Yeah, I took a little thought, but I was telling your call screener, I'm old enough to remember when complete games were the norm. So we had, Kane and Bumgarner, Lincecum. The A's had Hudson, Mulder, Zito. And the Mets had Seaver, Matlack, and Kuzmin. So it was like expected almost to pitch a complete game. So it was just so wonderful.
Caller asked me, one of my first callers asked me how many I had, and I remember my first year was a rookie. I had 7. And back in there, Andrea, we've talked about this many times. Back in the day, you didn't want to come out. You wanted to throw 9 innings. That was what your job was as a starting pitcher. That's why some of the rosters, Andrea, we only had 8 pitchers on a roster. You only had 3 or 4 guys in the bullpen because starting pitching always went deep.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah. I mean, now it's so micromanaged and, so on and so forth.
100 pitch mark and you're out. 100 pitch mark, you're out. 100 pitches, you're out. 100 pitches, you're out, or you get into that 5th or 6th inning with 90 or 88 and you're out. But they're doing it a different way. It's protection of arms, a lot of big contracts, things like that for prospects. They do it the correct way, but then again, you want to see what you saw today. Robbie Ray to finish that game and a complete game, and he battled that ninth inning. It was tough. He was tough. It took him 24 pitches to get out of that ninth inning, but he did it, and I'm sure he's going to be pretty tired tomorrow. He's going to be pretty sore, but it's a good sore when you do that.
Right. I know. It's like he looked in the dugout, and he and Bob Melvin made eye contact. It's like, this is my game. He let him back out. And then he got, a little bit of a nail biter in the ninth. Yeah. But, we trusted the baseball gods and goddesses, and he had the complete game. 2 hits and 2 runs. We'll take that any day of the week. So.
Well, the solo home runs, he went after Marte. He was behind 3-1. He threw him a slider and hung it. Those are just the way, hey, I'm going to throw you a strike. I'd rather throw you a strike than walk you. And the odds of him getting a home run was less than him getting an out, but it prevailed. Hey, Marte's a starting second baseman in the National League for the 2025 All-Star game. The guy can hit. That was his 19th home run.
Right. And, Robbie Ray was really great. He's October 191. And I looked at his chart. He actually has Jupiter in Virgo, and Mars is currently in Virgo. So literally Jupiter aligned with Mars for his complete game. And that doesn't happen very often. Let's just say that. So that was really right timing.
Those are all things that happen, in your the way you look at them and the way you show them to me and tell them to me. And some of those things are just spot on, especially when you're seeing a guy, battling through some hard times, and then, he gets through it. And today, after the loss Robbie Ray had Saturday against the White Sox, 1-0, you start thinking about it. Are you going to give me 8 runs today? But when they got those first 2 runs in the top of the first inning, that had him settled in, and he goes out and throws 7 pitches in the bottom of the first, and he gets out of it. But the pitches that he threw per inning, it was, remarkable, because you don't see guys throw 7, 9, 11, 13, 7, 10, 10, 11, and he goes into the 9th inning with 78 pitches only. Very good outing in everything he did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was great, and it's good to know you pitched 7 complete games. I mean, that's quite, something to aspire to, especially these days.
Andrea, I'll leave you with this, Andrea. Many moons ago, Andrea, many moons ago.
I like when you say that.
Andrea, thanks for the call. I'll leave you with a good little chuckle for me tonight.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Andrea, thanks for the call. All right, we're going to take a quick break here and bring my buddy on. He's going to talk about this game and more. Brooks Nudson coming up next, and we'll talk to him right here on the Sports Leader.
the right time for Sportsphone KNBR. Let's go on the sports leader. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
Now the 3-2. Devers swings, hits it hard to first, under the glove of Tawa. Lunging to his right, out into right field, and this will score 2. Kisner comes across, Adames right behind him. Devers delivers. A 2-out, 2-run single, and the Giants open up a 6-1 lead here in the 7th.
Back on KNBR with Bill Laskey as the Giants win 7-2. They take the last 2 games of the 4-game series, and now they're off to Sacramento to play the Athletics for a July 4th weekend. All of the games are 7:05, so I'll be doing all the post-game shows. So my guest today, we had him on the other night, did a great job. Of course, you can follow him and Jeff Young on the PPP podcast, which is Pitchers Park Pod. Let's bring in Brooks Nudson. Brooks, how are you this evening?
Doing well, Bill. We definitely saw some fireworks early with Robbie Ray tonight.
Boy, didn't he pitch a gem today? And, you know, the pitch count was something that, you know, we always look at for 100 pitches. A lot of these guys are in the 6th, 7th inning. And when you see, you know, 7, 16, 27, 40, 47, and you get to after the 8th inning, you only had 78 pitches, that was remarkable in my eyes.
Yeah, I like that he was just kind of going after guys, pitching to contact, wasn't scared about the ballpark, the lineup, any of that stuff. And maybe it was just the aggressiveness of the D-backs hitters just trying to pounce on early strikes. And credit to Robbie to not get into trouble, no 3-ball counts a ton, none of that stuff. And it made for a bunch of quick innings.
Yeah, perfect game for 4 innings. And at the end of 4 innings, I was like, wow, they had a no-hitter going. And I looked down, like, it's got a perfect game going, Bill. Wake up, you know. So, and, of course, the home run, the next first hitter up. But, you know, that was the first time he pitched at Chase Field since he was a Diamondback. I didn't know that.
That I actually did not know that either. And that's funny because his career has gone, you know, up to Seattle, obviously, and then over to the Giants. And for the longest time, I just remember him being Robbie Ray, a guy who strikes out 200 a year, but he was always walking a ton of guys, right?
Yeah.
And that was kind of his thing. You'd have a 4 ERA, walking a ton of guys, but he'd always be punching out 220 batters a year. And today, he's just more of a polished pitcher. He isn't getting into, oh, I got to just whiff everybody. I got to punch out everybody. Instead, he's just more crafty, and he's got good stuff from the left side that even though they know the fastball's coming, they still can't hit it. And, you know, Suarez got him. Marte got him in the 9th on a, you know, get it in fastball on a 3-1, right? But just looking at Robbie Ray, just like you were mentioning, he's just going in there, confidence. I'm the guy. I know we've been in the slide lately, but you know, I'm going to go out there and just get these guys, punch some tickets. So,
Bruce, when you look at what I've been throwing out there, you know, he's had 18 starts, 10 of them were quality starts, and you look at his record 9-3, and 2 of those losses were 1-0. And when I look back in the game logs, and I couldn't remember the first one, and then when I saw it, I chuckled because he lost 1-0 in Miami, and he loses 1-0 against the White Sox. And you start thinking, this guy could easily be 11-1 if they would have scored a couple runs. And, you know, the Giants, and I mean, they're 14-4 in his starts. Everything has been going consistent with him, and I feel it, and I'm sure you're going to say the same thing. Probably he and Logan Webb are definitely going to be on this National League All-Star team.
Yeah, and much deserved. You know, it's just, you know, after the year he had last year, kind of coming back from Tommy John, and you know, we had that summer debut, and we weren't really sure what he was going to be able to give us. But just looking at a guy who is right where he needs to be, in obviously a good pitching staff, and I hope the other pitchers are going to feed off of him. Obviously, you know, there's been a lot of conversation about the other end of the starting rotation besides the all-star probables. And I think Verlander can see what Robbie Ray's doing and just say, all right, I know I'm not going to go out there and strike out a ton of guys. I'm not going to go deep into the game like that, but I can be the veteran, co-veteran, maybe eventually the three-headed monster that they were hoping it would be.
Yeah, I'm hoping the same thing, because when you look at what Birdsong's been doing and then Roop doing it in the middle innings, walking these guys, and Birdsong throwing 10 straight balls. I've never seen that happen before when he was dealing so well. And now you go into this athletic series and you got Verlander, Webb, and Birdsong, and it's going to be real important to see if Verlander comes back from that last outing where he threw 6 innings, only 1 earned run against the White Sox, and to do it in Sacramento in that ballpark is going to be a challenge.
It's going to be a challenge, not just for the ballpark, but those guys can mash. Kurtz, Rooker, they are going to be bringing the power stroke, and the Giants, they need to find a way to outslug these guys. And nice to be able to get their hacks in tonight. Against the pitcher, I would say Fott is not necessarily a major league pitcher right now. I think he could probably find himself back in the minors to work on some stuff. And the Giants did what they're supposed to do against a guy who has just had a rough year, a 5+ ERA, all that, right? So they're going to see some similar pitching like that in Sacramento. And they need to take advantage of not
Brooks,
only the ballpark.
They got 2 lefties going against them, Brooks. They got 2 lefties, J.P. Sears and Jacob Lopez, and they're 8-14 against lefties. So this is going to be a challenge for them to try to turn that around. But I like what you said. Both of these teams are going to have to slug it out in Sacramento. They're all night games, and I think that's going to be a plus there. Have you seen a major league team yet? Have you gone up to Sacramento to watch a big league team play up there yet?
No, not yet. I would like to definitely catch a game. But yeah, it's just obviously.
I'm sure you did the same thing I did. If you watched some athletic games, I've watched a few of them.
Right.
On the NBC Bay Area, and you can see how the ball carries, and you see how much the ball, goes out to the lines, the foul lines. It's so short. I used to do River Cat games up with Johnny Dasco. Of course, he does radio now for the Athletics, and even the ball back then when I did TV games on Saturday, the ball carried so much, and there were just fly balls that literally just pushed right on out. That's about what, Luis Severino is just going off. He does not want to play there anymore. You've heard a lot of his comments. He's pitching Saturday, and I guarantee he's not looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I think it was Tatis Jr. cleared the roof in left field, and I think Devers could reach that territory himself. Yeah. So that'd be
jumping into Devers real quick. Brooks Gooden jumping into Devers. He had some really nice quality at bats today, and it happened in that 7th inning when he hit that base hit with 2nd and 3rd. That was just a clutch hit. That's what we're expecting out of him.
Yeah, he looked like the guy that they traded for tonight, and even this series. He didn't get a lot going in the front end, but just I think he's starting to get out of that little funk that he was in, and when he's going right, he's laying off of the pitch that he's, when he's in strikeout mode, obviously that's tough, but when he's going right, he's laying off those pitches. He's laying off the high fastball up by his letter high above his shoulders, and right now he's making him pay because he's always going to hit it hard. That's what makes Devers special in today's game. He's going to hit it hard. And you saw it. He had rifling shots to right field, 2-run knock here and there, and just that's the guy. That's what they need to see, especially when Chapman comes back. They're going to have everyone kind of just right where they need to be in the middle of that lineup, and that's what Giants fans are looking for.
My guest on Sportsphone KNBR is Brooks Nudson. You can follow him on X at Brooks Nudson, KNUDSON, and also he does a great PPP, the Pitchers Park Pod with Jeff Young. They do a great job on talking about pitching. We talk about Willy Adames so much, Brooks, and he sure swung the bat well tonight. That ball hit to center field was mashed. He had 2 doubles today, and I thought that was something that we wanted to see more of, where he was a little more calmer at the plate, But then he was aggressive, and he hit the ball well tonight, going 3 for 4 with 2 doubles. And that's, I think, what we want to see, a little bit more consistency out of him.
Yeah, just like you mentioned the other night on postgame, it's sometimes on the players, right? The players just got to go out there and play the game and just do better. And the coaching can only do so much. And Willie Adames right now, maybe he's extra coachable right now. Maybe they're figuring out some of the stuff mechanically with him. I'm not sure, but it's working. And he's looking comfortable out there. He looks like he's ready to do damage at the plate. And, here it is, July. Like, go for it. Go on this tear. Make July your on-fire month. I'm ready for it.
Brooks, do you think Bob Melvin should have a set lineup like 1 through 9? Do you think, like today, Yastrzemski, Adames, Devers, Ramos, Lee? I thought that was pretty solid. Do you think it should be set like this, righties and lefties? Should he play the righty-lefty game like, we're going to see J.P. Sears? Do you think Matos would be playing right field and Yaz sits, or do you think he should keep Yaz against lefties?
It's tough to say. I think certain lefties, hard-throwing lefties versus kind of the guys that top out at 91, 92, that kind of thing, could play a little bit into it. But I, for one, would like to see a consistent lineup and then, rotate out 1, 2 guys based on matchups, but just kind of have your core 7 guys in there, as long as everyone's healthy, of course. You just got your 7 guys, you take 2 guys and just rotate them out. That's what I'd like to see, regardless if it's a lefty or a righty on the mound. And they got certain guys that they're going to need to find a way to get in there. Wilmer Flores, he's not really lefty-righty. It doesn't matter, right? He can just hit anybody. I know he's gone through his slumps and stuff like that, but he's a guy that you want up there when there's 2 guys in scoring position and 2 outs. It's like, that's the guy you want to hit. I don't care if it's a righty, lefty, someone like that in there. So I could see definitely some more consistency from Bob when he's making these lineups, and leadoff guys changing every night, I feel like. So yeah. And let's say Jung-Hoo Lee is maybe not best suited for the 7th spot in the lineup. I'd like to see that guy more toward the top.
Well, we talk about Adames, and we've been talking about him in this conversation, and he's hitting the 2nd spot, and he's 4 for 8 in 2 games. Now, I don't know if that's where he wants to put him. He's always had him in the RBI spots. Would you rather see Jung-Hoo Lee lead off now? Do you think he's capable of doing that again? He was always in the 3 spot. Well, he's not going to be there anymore. Devers is now put in the 3 spot. I just would like to see how he's going to play if Jung-Hoo Lee gets hot again, if he's going to lead him off again, or is Yastrzemski that guy? Yastrzemski, of course, 3 for 5 tonight. He hit the ball real well tonight.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to be a little interchangeable with Yaz up there and Jung-Hoo Lee in there. And, yeah, I think I kind of like Adames more in the 5 or 6 spot myself, because when you're batting second and you punch out a lot, it's tough, right? You want to have a guy in there to put the ball in play. It's kind of sounding a little old school, I'm sure, but put the ball in play to move the leadoff double over to third with 1 out, that kind of thing, versus, oh, don't strike out here. Come on. No, we need don't do that. So I'm thinking maybe more Adames in the 5 or 6 spot. And that's more when, like, Chappie's back, then they have a little more
that's going to be interesting.
Structure.
Yeah. Brooks Nudson joined me on Sportsphone KNBR for a few more minutes. I want to talk a little bit about the Athletics, and, of course, we got to talk about their young phenom, the shortstop, Jacob Wilson, who got the vote in from the fans to beat out Bobby Witt. Kind of a surprise, but when you start looking at his numbers, Brooks, 345 plate appearances. He's only struck out 26 times. 26 times. Hitting .339, 34 multi-hit games, 25 extra base hits. The kid's 23 years old. He's only made 7 errors at shortstop in his rookie year. Of course, most likely AL Rookie of the Year. What do you see in this kid? Because I've been watching him. He's been fabulous.
He sounds like a guy who's been listening to his dad, Jack Wilson, very intently, very much getting his education, learning, and trying to replicate. And dare I say, I mean, I know it's early, but he looks better than Jack Wilson, at least in terms of locked in. Like Jacob's locked in.
Jack Wilson was a
right
damn good shortstop too, Brooks. He could pick.
No, it definitely felt like a glove first kind of guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like the bat control kind of Arias and San Diego. It's kind of like these guys that there's just not a lot of them in today's game, right? Right now, everyone wants to hit 20 homers and hit 220, and it's like, cool, that's great for the 20 homers, but what else can you do when the ball gets caught at the wall, you know? So, yeah, this is refreshing to see this in today's game, and Giants have their work cut out to try to stop this guy because he can hit any pitch. It doesn't matter. And he kind of chokes up with the bat, and he's got a short stride to the ball, and he rips it hard, and that's the kind of guy that's tough to get out.
I'm sure you've seen Denzel Clark in center field make a couple of those catches where he goes over the wall. He is a fabulous athlete. Batting average isn't great, but one of the best defenders. 25 years old. He's only got 3 errors in center, and then Lawrence Butler is in right field. These guys can fly. And both of them are playing fantastic defense. Lawrence Butler, 252, 11 home runs, 34 RBIs. Those are the two guys that you got to keep off the bases. They don't have a lot of stolen bases. Butler's got 14. Clark's got 5. But these two are definitely showing the athletic fans they can play a little outfield.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to see that much athleticism out there. And Clark's been making some crazy catches at the wall. So Giants need to do one better and hit it over the wall and even higher so he can't rob a homer from them. But yeah, they got – it's kind of interesting that they're playing the A's now versus after the trade deadline because they do have some pieces if they want to, make some more deals like the A's usually do. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what their team looks like a month from now. But, yeah, it'll be
Brooks,
a fun series, I think.
Yeah, Brooks, as we finish up here, after the Athletics, they come home and play at Oracle Park, and really a tough matchup with 6 straight games, 3 against Philadelphia, then a day off, and then 3 against the Dodgers, which really is the first time the Dodgers are coming to Oracle Park all the way in the middle of July. I think they have to get a momentum through the Athletics to get home to play the Phillies, who are playing very good, and, of course, the dreaded Dodgers for 6 straight, and I think that week is going to have to be some very good baseball by the Giants.
Yeah, even this entire stretch, including the Athletics, because they're not going to be easy. I know their record isn't whatever, but it's not going to be easy these next 9 games. And I don't know what Buster's going to do if the Giants go 1-8 in this stretch because I know I'm not trying to get negative here, but I'm trying to be realistic that when you get after the All-Star break and you're starting to look how far out you are, and I know the wild card is, you can always be in the wild card, big hot August, big hot September, all that stuff. But I am curious to see if this upcoming stretch does not go well. Maybe they kind of sputter out of the gate after the All-Star break. You get into that trade deadline time, and you're going to start hearing some phone calls for Robbie Ray after what he's been doing. And
good thoughts.
With major talent coming back, controllable, the next Corbin Carroll, like these type of guys that might be floated at them. So that could be interesting to see, but obviously you still got to play the games. I'd like to see them do the opposite and go, start rattling off a bunch of wins, start winning series, get back into the, contending kind of mojo that they had in the first couple months. But, the timing is going to be very interesting, Bill, as they get into the trade deadline to see what kind of pieces they might want to add or subtract.
Brooks, thanks for joining me. It's a late night, but I appreciate your time. It's always great catching up with you, and next time we'll do it again.
Likewise, Bill. Happy 4th to you and everybody out there. Be safe, and let's see if the Giants can take down these A's this weekend. Thanks, Bill.
I'm all for it. That was Brooks Nudson on Sportsphone KNBR. Good stuff again, and we're going to wrap up the show now. Giants win today in Arizona 7-2, 7 runs, 12 hits, no errors for the Giants. 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Diamondbacks. Robbie Ray just threw a sensational game, going 9 innings, 3 hits, giving up 2 solo home runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. He goes complete game, his second complete game in his career. He is now 9-3 on the season with a 2.68 earned run average. The Giants up the record to 47-41, on to Sacramento for a 3-day weekend, the July 4th weekend. Justin Verlander on the hill tomorrow against J.P. Sears. First pitch right here at 7:05. I want to thank my producer today, Kyle Haar, and my guest, Brooks Nudson. Thank you all for calling in. I'm going to do it again tomorrow. Have a Friday night Sportsphone KNBR show, and then I'll have the extra inning post-game show on Saturday and Sunday. I spoke to Mike Aldretti today on a lot of things that are going on with the Athletics. Good friend of mine, of course, teammate of mine in 1986. We'll have that interview on the extra inning post-game show. For Bill Laskey, thanks for joining me. Giants win today. Be safe, be well. Have a great 4th of July if I don't talk to you. But whatever you do, enjoy with your family and friends. I'm Bill Laskey. We're going to be next with more right here